Everybody, and welcome back to more Air Tycoon Online. Okay, the first thing that is kind of noteworthy is the World Traveler Index has made a bit of a bounce back. 2,700 was just like a kind of down spike, which is really good, of course, because if it wasn't, that would be a little bit ridiculously bad. On the other side, we're also making good profits now. Our upticks were about 380K before we ramped up our investment just a little bit. In order to make sure we could get some new bases for this turn, kind of before I go to sleep tonight. So we can kind of de-invest here a little bit, back down to more kind of neutral levels of spending, right, and open our new bases in Barcelona and Madrid. So I think I'm going to do, well, in Madrid, there's only a few slots left. How about Barcelona? Barcelona, there's a few more slots, but the routes have more competition. So I think I'll do Madrid first anyway, and just get the airport to upgrade overnight. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. There's definitely enough slots too in Madrid for a 747 bomb, right? And there's plenty of slots actually in other airports around here, Amsterdam, Paris, mostly, where I can kind of fill out my short haul arsenal and get that going. So, of course, to start, we're going to order more Tupolevs. We're not going to use them right away. We're going to use the 747s first because, of course, that is a little bit more exciting. So, yeah, of course, some more. Oh, yeah, one thing I forgot to do for a long time, actually, is this. It's a small difference, but it makes a big difference, I think. So, I probably should have done that a little bit earlier. But, yeah, I've just been forgetting, so... We finally remembered, yay. All right, and then let's go ahead and lease some 747s. So these are going to be flying to relatively premium cities, so we want to have slightly larger premium classes than we were running on some previous flights. Don't want to get too ham because Barcelona, Madrid kind of type cities are not huge drivers of premium demand. Right, so what we want to do is we just want to open routes like this, Dallas to Madrid. And then here's kind of the problem is Asia's too far. So like Shanghai is a bit too far. Seoul and Beijing are already taken, right? So we're kind of left with the best of the rest, which is like Bengaluru or something like that. So the premium class will be a little bit too small for the Dallas side of the route. And a little bit too big for the other side. The other option we can do is we can just stop it over to like a very close European city, like Athens, right? Which doesn't have too much competition, it looks like, and just get 5 schedules per week out of the Dallas leg, which I think is the option we're going to take here. And I'm going to do all the premium flights first, and then kind of, adjust the prices afterwards. I think that might be a little bit easier in this case. I think Seattle is a great one. Seattle to Madrid, and then maybe to Moscow, if that's valid. Nope, it's not a proper stopover route. Maybe Cairo. Yeah, there's not too much competition on this leg. It's a 707 with bad satisfaction and a 737. So yeah, the 747 should kind of blow that away in terms of competitiveness. However, it would be better to fly a good monopoly, but there's unfortunately just not that many available on the other side. And yeah, I'm basically doing that because when I'm doing on the east coast of the US to Madrid, then I have to use an Asian stopover because otherwise the stopover route won't be long enough to become a quote-unquote valid stopover route. So this is a bit unfortunate because Bengaluru is smaller than Charlotte, so you want to put, you would rather it be the like longer leg of the route, the Charlotte leg, but unfortunately that just doesn't work here, and I don't think the direct route with the 747 is worth it. I think while the demand would be close to good enough, you would just make more doing something like this. And this is either a new flight or I think because he's de-invested his name value in both cities, I think that might be why that's not a very profitable flight, because it kind of should be. So that's rather interesting. Let's see how the Indian places are doing. They're also 747s, and I don't think there's enough demand to stack 747s on top of each other here. Yeah. Once again, excuse me, I'm still a little bit sick. Yeah, it looks like the Indian carrier in this world is actually pretty good, which is going to make it kind of difficult to compete with them, and I kind of don't intend to for at least a long time. So yeah, that is fine the way it is for now, and we can just continue to focus on our American cities to Madrid, as these are our primary dumps for 747s for now. Okay, yeah, with this all exhausted, I think Lagos is actually a good option. Is Monrovia valid? Okay, Monrovia is valid, so we will do that instead. This is a really nice one. This is actually the best stopover route I've found so far. I kind of wish I used it on Charlotte or Dallas, which is the bigger cities. So later on I could put, I kind of comfortably put an A380 or something on a flight like that. But that's fine for now. Miami is decent. It's about 400 business and tour. Phoenix is actually a little bit bigger, surprisingly. And I can also do a kind of derpy stopover where I do another leg in, let's see, what can I get away with here? Maybe like Munich. Let's see, what's Munich? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's just a low satisfaction 707. It's a big plane, but the satisfaction is so low that we should be able to do that. Why is this not? Oh, we ran out of 747s. Let's go ahead and order more. I believe we can order more, yes. Just a single one, but that is all we need. Well, obviously we could use more, but that is all we have room for right now. Beautiful. And let's see if that one allows us to order another one. Yes, it does. But I think what I will do is I'll simply put in an order for some more Tupolevs and then 747. And see if this order of 747 allows us another 747, and it does not, unfortunately. So that's going to be all the 747s we can afford this turn. Oh, I think Mexico City is a good one. Yeah, Mexico City to Madrid. It's 9,000 kilometers, so we can do an inter-European stopover. Yep, Moscow looks great. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because in London, right, you do almost all bound stopovers where you do one city in Asia, one city far in North America, etc. But when you do cities in just slightly different locations, like Madrid, that already allows you to do kind of really, really different stopover strategies, which I kind of enjoy, right? Like, if every stopover was just North American to Europe to Asian or something like that, that would get boring really fast. But thankfully we can do sorry, excuse me. We could do really unique and creative things like this. And boom, yeah, with that done, we can go ahead and set the prices for these brand new stopover routes. I really hope overnight my staff do not become unsatisfied. Can they do it multiple nights in a row? Like if they were unhappy like tonight or like 24 hours ago, can they do it again? I've clicked this a few times already. What am I doing? Oh. Wait. Why did that not apply to all the flights? Or does it not apply to the second half of stopover routes? Yeah, do you see that? Okay, how many, do I have other flights like this? I don't see any 1.0s. Oh, that's frustrating. Oh, that is frustrating indeed. So we're going to have to go through and manually set the price of all of these to 1.3, unfortunately. Yeah, that's really annoying. If I knew that was going to happen, I would have just set it correctly when I made the route instead of having to go back and do all this manually, because this is going to take quite a while. Yeah, so keep that in mind, guys. I guess if you're planning on using the price editing trick on stopover routes, it might not work, apparently. I don't know. Maybe if I try different... Let me try different conditions. Let me just try 0 to 0%. I don't... That shouldn't make a difference. Like, but maybe it does. And if it does, it'll save me a lot of time. And it doesn't. So, well, it doesn't work. So that's unfortunate. We'll go ahead and fix these. And after this, we can just focus on the Tupolev routes. we are starting to pile up a lot of Tupolevs now. I think more than we normally do when we do Tupolev Boeing strategy, and that's because you need to request a lot of slots, of course, to make Boeing Tupolev strategies work. And normally, when you're playing without, you know, like bonus slots or what's called not bonus slots. Yeah, normally when you're playing without, what am I trying to say? Oh yeah, without the instant slot request. Sorry, man, that took so long. It takes a long time to request enough slots to really expand quickly and do all that good stuff. And of course, the number of slots that you use when you're using Tupolevs is extremely, extremely high. Right, so you can normally request like what, 25 slots per request, and you can request 4 at once. So that's like 100 slots every 15 minutes. Which sounds great, but that's like 2 Tupolev flights, right? Like, so you can do like 1 Tupolev flight per 15 minutes if you're on top of everything and remember to do all your slot requests. If you're lucky, 3, I guess. So, yeah, that's going to take a long time late game where every round you want to add like 20 Tupolev flights or something like that. So, yeah, this is kind of the first time I get to kind of just run this strategy all the way into the mid to late game. And I'm kind of curious to see how it scales. I mean, obviously, we kind of missed this last uptick by having no profit through the morning hours. Let's go back and look at this tragedy. So 360K, 380K, 362K, 180K. Yeah, this was like a new branch plus a really brutal downtick. So this kind of coincided with the World Traveler Index being only 2,700. And yeah, I reckon everybody was hit hard during that particularly nasty downtick. And of course, for me, it was compounded with the 60,000 branch expense. Yeah, and then there's the negative profit downticks, which we had overnight with the unhappy staff. So they say satisfied, but they really should give you a longer warning. Oh, somebody posted a message here. Oh, okay, he's talking to somebody else. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, being able to run the Tupolev strategy into the like mid game is definitely a really fun change. And also, I think it'll help me like run down the top player, because I think this is normally about the time in the game where the top player and I would start to be expanding at about the same speed, right? Because if we use the same strategy, I'm not going to catch him. He's flying 707s, DC-10s, right? He's buying the planes outright. He has no leases, right? Even if I was doing a different strategy than Boeing 747 and Tupolev, I would still be leasing 747s almost guaranteed. And if he banned that, I'd be leasing the next biggest plane available. Right? So with that in mind, I would always be running a slightly different strategy to him. But right, if you do the same strategy as an opponent who's ahead of you, how are you ever going to catch them? They are already ahead. So let's say their strategy has an ROI where every $1 billion of value generates 100,000 per turn for them, or 10 million for them per turn, right? That means that they need 100 turns to ROI. You also need 100 turns to ROI because you are flying the same planes on the same kind of routes. So why would you ever catch them? Whereas what I'm doing with Tupolevs and Boeings, ROIs are way faster than what my lovely opponent is doing, which means I have a chance of catching them. Given that they have so much more value, producing value for them, it's not guaranteed. Like, let's check. I'm reckoning he's over 600,000 now on his uptick. This is what I've been using most of my credits for, by the way. It's just super fun. Oh, he's not. Very interesting. 438,000. What's he spending money on? He was definitely making more before. I mean, he could have unsatisfied staff. Let's take a look at his routes. Does it look like it? No, he has a lot of 100% load factor routes. Yeah, I think he's just getting hit hard by the World Traveler Index. And he has a lot of competition moving in. Jesus. Yeah, like all of these routes have competition. Let's kind of see. Oh, 6 competitors. Holy smokes. And the flight is still full. That's really well managed, honestly. I am quite impressed because if I had 6 competitors, I don't think I would be doing too well. But yeah, once again, the game is very popular in Asia. So if you like playing in the Asian cities, it is a little bit like playing on hard. Um, yeah, just the amount of competitors you're gonna face. Most of the most skilled players are based in Asia because there's the most players in Asia. So yeah, it's gonna be really tough. I always find that there's always some huge airlines out of Beijing or Seoul or in this case Singapore and Kuala Lumpur. But yeah, anyhow, let's continue to keep grinding with these tupolev routes. One thing I'm kind of curious about the efficacy of doing is renovating. So these planes are only 177 turns old, or like they're only like what is this? Like 70 turns old and they're already 5% satisfaction. Excuse me. And what I noticed about that is 5% satisfaction planes will not be full basically no matter what. At least at 1.2 pricing, right? Which is kind of what you want. Let me see if I can find the old routes. Yeah, like that's a 747. Yeah, this route manager is a little bit different. Yeah, no. Are these like new routes? Yeah, okay. So routes like this, I mean, that's competition, right? So we can't really fairly look at that. Let's see if we can find a Monopoly one as an example. Okay, if we can't find one, there's probably just not that many to worry about. Okay, it's probably not a problem to worry about then if it takes that much effort just to find one. But yeah, I noticed, at least on downticks, there's a lot of Tupolev 1, 2, 4, like just like Monopoly routes, which just aren't full. And I was like, okay, let me take a look at it. And it just appears to be that the 5% satisfaction planes just can't fill up a Tupolev at 1.2 pricing. I don't know if I do 1.15, that would fix the issue, or if I need to just increase the satisfaction by doing a renovation. The renovation's not much anyway. Like renovating all my fleet at 5% would cost like 60 something thousand. But at the same time, if that renovation only keeps the planes like satisfying, I guess I don't know how to say, like having good satisfaction for the customers for only a few in-game like half an in-game decade or like 5 days IRL, is that really worth it when I could just like let them sit at 5% satisfaction? I am not too certain about that. I think I'd rather just let them sit at 5% satisfaction. Sorry, excuse me. This is really, really annoying for me too. Yeah, like just let them chill at 5% satisfaction, and whatever amount of money it makes is better than zero, and we'll just kind of have to accept that. Oh, anyhow, we're at the slot limit for this airport anyway, so we won't be able to expand much more out of it. Let's leave that for now and go ahead to Amsterdam. I don't think I want to open the Barcelona airport yet. Mostly because I won't have the planes to put Boeings on anyway, which are, of course, the money makers, as I've mentioned many, many times. And there's only 200 slots left there, which means I won't be able to expand much after I open there anyway. So I guess tomorrow, I'll probably do it off camera. I've done a lot of base openings and just executing the same strategy from those bases. So you kind of get the idea. I think the next major paradigm shift, when we start to look for different strategies than what we're doing right now, will actually be quite far in the future. I don't see anything else scaling this strategy very soon, but I think it's when we run out of new bases with good stopover routes available. For example, North American bases and Asian bases are very different because there's a lot fewer stopover routes available. There's still stopover routes available, just quite a bit fewer, which means you have to use smaller planes in a direct fashion quite often, actually. And kind of what I'm talking about there is just like instead of New York to Vienna to Seoul. I think that's a bad example because Vienna is actually stopover enabled. But what's a non-stopover enabled European city? Birmingham. right? Instead of New York to Birmingham to somewhere, you just have to fly that directly. Unless you eventually open a base in, what's it called? In Asia too, I think you might be able to do something like that, like Beijing, stopover in Eindhoven to New York. I think that kind of route is available. I will have to try. Anyhow, let's see. What is my first set of like that route's like it's just like a lot harder to open, right? Because you need the base on either side and that kind of thing. So I think we're gonna get New York and Tokyo. Let's try and increase Tokyo a little bit so that we get it at the same time, and then we can kind of try doing stopover routes between New York and Tokyo, and see if it lets us kind of do the kind of route we described. Because if so, I need to start prioritizing North American and Asian bases a little bit higher. If we can only stop over through the yellow airports, then of course it's going to be kind of a dud. Like there's some here I can see that are just really good and untaken. But there's others which are just like, why isn't it stopover enabled? Like Tripoli. But Lyon is, like Luxembourg is, like there's like there's still good routes available here. Right, which is why we're prioritizing these bases like New York and eventually, of course, Chicago and LA. Let's see, I only have 16 in Chicago. That's a bit low. Let's increase that a little bit. Let's see what LA is at, 24. Yeah, I mean, now that you'll need 40 to open a new base, it's kind of a really, really nice change, which means you're going to be able to, I'm going to be able to grow much, much faster. Like that, you know what I mean? Like if we forget a certain airport or something somewhere, and we're just like, oh, I really need a new Asian base or something, or a new North American base. You can max out that slider, spend like 30K a turn, and it'll actually be done in just a couple days, which I think is a really, really good change, because accidentally locking yourself out of all new bases for long periods of time, as it really takes a long time to hit 50 name value. That really, really sucks. So 40 is a really good change. I would argue 35 would be a better change. But, well, it is how it is. 30 is already moving definitely in the correct direction. So I'm very happy about that. Anyhow, we are almost done with our Tupolevs. We still have to go and order just a couple more. I'm just going to spend all the rest of my cash on these Tupolevs and just get most of these Amsterdam slots out of the way. Boom. I do want to order one special plane to do a really stupid route or something at one point. Like, maybe when like an A350 comes out or something, I can do, or maybe a 777. 777 is probably the longest range plane available in the kind of early-ish game, and just fly from London to Sydney or something like that. Like just like something really stupid, not even to make profit or anything like that, just for fun. I think that'd be pretty good. And then we can kind of keep track of how a stupid, like 3 schedule per thing direct route works or something like that. That would be so funny. So yeah, like, I mean, we have like 8,000, like 600 credits, whatever, 4,000 to 800. What am I talking about? So let me know if there's anything you want me to do with them that's not just like purchase money or a large amount of better planes to exploit or something like that. Like if you want to see any funny things, like a super long range route for no reason, or a maxed out Tupolev 114 versus a 707, like just funny things. I'd really love to know. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.